Good girl. Sit. Sit. Yes, good. Sit. There you go. Good job. Good girl. So Miss Delilah here is definitely starting to get the hang of it. She still wants to pop up. So it's important that before we give her the treat to make sure that she is completely on the ground. And today we're just going to be practicing more of the same with her recall and the sit, and adding in a little bit of the leave it too if necessary here. She's been really good about staying close to us on the side here with the leash, and then when she does go past, I just use a little bit of leash pressure to get her back. So she hasn't really needed too many corrections on that regard. I think a big part of it too is just the fact that her legs are so much smaller. She has definitely a much more naturally slower gait than her bigger roommate. And then also down, sit, good sit. And then also she usually gets a little bit less excited. She'll still get sometimes excited when she sees another pup or a person, just a little bit less so than Miss Daisy. Yeah. So here she is going at a pretty good quick speed. I'm gonna go ahead and press leash there because they don't want dogs on their lawn. And she did a really good job of listening. And this is another reason why we want to keep the leash loose most of the time, so that way it has more impact on the few times that we do actually need it. So here, we'll just kind of let it loose, and I'll let her smell while I slowly keep walking forward. And what I'll do in the meantime is get a treat ready. That way when she does catch up, good girl. Sit. Sit. Good, sit down. Down. Yes, there you go. Good job. Okay. So now that something has caught her scent, she's going backwards. Good girl, there we go. I'll try to get my hand with the leash in as much of the shot as possible so you can kind of see when I'm helping her and when she's kind of doing things on her own. Most of the time she's really good about doing, I would say about 80 to 90% of the things on her own. Every now and then though she'll need a little bit of help because she'll get distracted here. And then she'll kind of recover on her own as well. She may need to go to the bathroom, so I'm not going to be too quickly redirecting her. Just going to give her some time to smell around. Good girl, good potty. Good girl, good job. Yes, good job. As far as her potty behavior goes, she has a very small bladder, and it also doesn't help that we're usually out pretty often in this heat, so she gets extra thirsty while we're out just working, and so she goes back home and she drinks a lot. So just being aware of that and being ready to take her back out. On average, she goes anywhere from so this will be a good moment here. We'll hold the leash pressure down. Hi, how you doing? Delilah? Yes, good girl. Very good. Good girl. And sit. Good sit. Good job. If I wasn't already mid-sentence, I would have called her back sooner. But that's what you would do, is just create an artificial boundary by using the leash pressure. And then once she's settling down a little bit there, using her name to recall her back in for a treat. So she did pretty good there. You can tell she still gets a little excited to meet new people, which is good. We just want them to not be able to engage unless they're in a much calmer state. Same with pups. She definitely has a good mix though, because sometimes she gets excited like that, and other times she gets very submissive and unsure of somebody. But what were we talking about? Oh yeah. So as far as her potty behaviors go, she's actually been really good about going outside pretty much every single time that we go outside. A big part of that is just the fact that she has a very small bladder and she's still pretty young. She can hold it anywhere from an hour to 2.5 hours max, it seems to be, so not very long. And like I said, a big part of that too is just the fact that while we're out in this heat practicing and walking around, it builds up her thirst. So then she gets back home and she's really thirsty, so she drinks a lot. And then usually she'll rest or nap or play. Good girl, good potty. And then as soon as she's done with that, it hits her that she has to go to the bathroom. Yes, good sit. And then she'll have to go. So that's why taking her out frequently will help. And then I'll also go over with mom the ways that I've been able to kind of avoid accidents inside as well, by both using a playpen and a carry sling. She's interested in these bikers over here, so I'm just making sure I'll be ready in case she wants to join them by locking the leash, but she's doing a really good job. Good. Good girl. Okay, now I'll start walking. Good. She's really good about recognizing where I am in space, which is good. She does still get distracted with her nose, as you can kind of tell here, but I'll just go ahead and get ready to practice recall with her. I want to try to save the leash tension for when I need it to create a boundary, and if I need her to catch up or come with me, oh, good girl, good potty, then I'll just call her name. Good girl, sit. Sit. Getting distracted. Yes, good sit. There you go. Good girl. Good job. She's unsure of the signs there. So same here. She sees some people. We want to make sure she doesn't run through the street. Good girl. Very good. Good job. And so little things like that I'll definitely reward as well, especially because I didn't need any leash pressure and I didn't call her back to me. She just saw the people on the other side of the street and then she recognized that I was still going this way. So I definitely want to reward that. The more behaviors that she does well on her own, the less work that we'll have to do kind of micromanaging wise. And actually that will help a lot with her kind of growth and development, as now she's thinking about what to do more often than just hearing a command and executing. So that's why it's really important to remember to praise and give treats or pets or anything. But you want to just be sure to positively reinforce those times when she is doing the right thing and you didn't have to ask her for it. She's doing really good. So here we've got a family that's going to be coming out of a car soon. We'll see if we'll need the leash pressure here. Good girl, very good. I'll go ahead and get a treat ready in case we need it. Good girl, good pee-pee. So usually while she's out, she'll really empty herself because she likes to mark. Good girl, good sit. Almost. She popped up a little bit. I think the ground was uneven too. But yeah, she definitely marks while she's out. So she has no problems peeing when she's outside. And that's really good with emptying her bladder. So usually by like the third or fourth one, she's pretty low. If not, is just emptying and going through the motions. And that's why she's pretty safe for at least that first hour when she goes back in. And it's important to keep in mind how much water she's actually intaking when she goes back in too, and that'll let you also know probably how long she'll be able to hold it for. If she drinks a whole lot, she'll probably need to go, closer to like an hour, hour and a half. If she only drinks a little bit and then she goes to rest and relax, she'll probably be able to nap for up to 2.5 to 3 hours or so, and then when she wakes up, she'll be able to go outside to go potty. because, we're on a limited timetable here, we have to kind of take her out more often to practice, which, especially in this heat can be difficult for the pups. We try to keep it shorter, especially for the smaller ones. Keep it to about 20 to 30 minutes at a time, and then letting them go back inside and get some AC and some water and rest up. Good girl, good potty. This time we'll use her name for recall. Delilah. Yes, good girl. And sit. Good sit. Good job. Thank you. But things back at home will generally be a lot different, just because they'll be getting less practice out and about, but then they'll also be eating less in the form of treats, and they'll also be drinking less because they won't be so thirsty from not being outside in the sun. So it'll still be important to keep an eye on her, on how much she's drinking at home, and make some adjustments as necessary. If she's running around playing with her sibling a lot and still drinking, I've had puppies before, well, I'll have to kind of stop the play session and, good girl, good potty. I'll have to stop the play session just to give them a potty break, because I know that if I wait and they stop the playing on their own, sometimes you have a very limited window, because that means that they only stop because they had to go to the bathroom. So it's good to kind of be as preemptive as possible. If they're running around inside playing and drinking, giving them a little break, maybe every half hour or so, to take them outside to go potty, and you'll be able to kind of realize how safe or how close you were, because if they go outside and they have to pee a lot right away, then you know that you were kind of cutting it on the close side. But if they go outside and they're able to walk around with you and smell things for a bit, maybe go a block or so without having to pee, and then they pee before coming back in, that's how you know that you're probably on the safer side for them to stay inside longer. And you'll be able to adjust the certain times from there on. Good girl, good potty. Sit. Oh. She's getting distracted by the lawnmower. Good girl. So by now, Miss Delilah here is definitely running on empty. I'll try to get it down close enough so you can see the next time that she does go pee, for her to go to mark that nothing is really coming out. Oh, somebody didn't pick up after their pup, so I'm just using some leash pressure here to make sure she can't get any closer, and then releasing when she turns around. Good girl. But we'll try to get down a little bit closer when she goes to pee next, and you'll be able to see that only usually a couple drops or anything comes out at this point. That's how you know that you'll be pretty much safe to go back home. Yeah, good girl. So she really does like going potty outside, and the only time she'll have an accident is when she has been holding it for too long inside. It's not like when she goes inside and she just starts marking like she does outside. The only times when she's had an accident on usually a mat is when she's been hyper holding it and it's all on just like one amount. And it's still not a ton for her, but it's a lot more than, a couple drips here and then a couple drips there. What it would be indicative of her marking behavior outside. You can just tell that she's just drank a lot inside and she just can't hold it anymore. Good girl. Luckily, her number 2 behaviors are a lot easier. Generally, she'll only go a couple times a day. Sometimes 3 times if it's like late at night for the last one. But that part even fluctuates as well, and we'll go over that with Mom. It'll range anywhere from within half an hour to an hour after eating to up to 3 hours after eating. So just keeping an eye on her. A big part of it too is what she'll be doing. Like if she's napping after she eats, then she'll probably be okay for those 3 hours until she wakes up. But if she's kind of just running around and playing or going out on sessions, then that's usually when she ends up going potty almost right away. But she does have a little bit of a spread there. The shortest time recorded was about 20 minutes, I think, and then the longest time recorded was about 3 hours. The 20 minutes was at lunchtime. She also doesn't usually eat at breakfast, but she'll be hungry and ready for lunch break. And so lunchtime, she'll usually go either right away or shortly after when we're out on a session. Then dinner time, she's more likely to go along the lines of our last call potty walk or break. I think it's just because she's also more tired towards the end of the day. We usually will feed them anywhere between 6 to 8 p.m. and then she's gone as late as 11 o'clock at night. Good thing is though, after she does call it a night, she does sleep through. The earliest we've ever woken up was about 4:30. But on average, she'll wake up anywhere from 5 to 6 a.m. And then we'll go potty outside. Good girl, good potty. So as you see, at least with Delilah, the walking is doing really well, and the potty is also doing really well because she has pretty much no problem going potty outside. It's just making sure that she, good girl, good potty, is out around the right times for us. Good girl, good job, good potty. I'm gonna go pause this to pick that up real quick. Okay, good girl. All right, so let's see what time it is, and that might be a good example of what we're talking about here. 11:22, okay. So that's about right. About 20 minutes after she had her lunch, we went out, and yeah, it's about 20 minutes into the walk that she went number 2. So yeah, lunchtime usually earlier, dinner time usually later. On average, she only goes number 2 about twice a day, sometimes 3 times if it's either early in the morning counting as 1 or later in the evening counting as 1, and then she'll have 1 in between the day. She's doing really good though. The leash is still nice and loose. She's got a pup up there that she might want to see, so we'll see how that goes. She does get distracted by smells, but she responds very well to both the leash pressure, her name, or also just walking. So what I'll do here, I won't press the leash or anything, I'll just start walking. She might mark again. We'll see if she needs the number 2 again. She usually only poos once though. And she's just following things around. There you go, she's marking and she's catching up. Good girl. Usually that's kind of the routine when we're out on walks. Good girl. You see here, not using any leash pressure. It's important still though, when cars are coming by, to be ready to press the button to stop the leash in case she runs out or anything. But that hasn't really been much of an issue either. I'm walking at a pretty close to normal speed, maybe a little bit more on the fast side, but then we get a lot more of these moments with Delilah as opposed to Daisy when we're kind of just waiting for her to catch up. girl. And so if she does start going past me too fast, this is all we would do is, hey, how you doing? Morning. We'll try to demonstrate what we would do to correct her if she does start going in front of us. She's been pretty good about it, but it's just a mere press of the button and then calling her back a little bit. She's getting a little distracted with the family there. Good girl. So say she was about to overshoot, I would just press the lead there. Good girl. Then I would start walking. So having her pause. Yes, good girl. Slow herself down. Pause. Good girl. Most of the time she gets distracted with sense and drops back on her own. All right. So now, especially since she's gone number 1 and number 2, and she is definitely empty, because no real pee is coming out at all now when she goes to mark. I know that I'll be good for around a couple hours, as she'll probably take a nap after this session. And then when I wake her up, I'll take her out to pee, because she's gonna definitely drink some water when we go back in. And that's just that's pretty much her cycle. She's been doing really good though. You might notice also that I kind of stop giving her praise and rewards after she is kind of empty and she's just marking. I do it really heavily in the beginning parts of when she is actually going outside to relieve herself and to go potty. You can always give praise and reward for each one, but I just want the ones when she's actually relieving herself to have the most impact. Good girl, good potty. And I'll just kind of do it periodically just to practice with her things too. Good down, good job. Go. Didn't ask her to sit, but that time was really good just because she didn't pop up on her own automatically. Can tell most of the walk is actually waiting for her to catch up as opposed to correcting her for going too far ahead. And every pup is going to be very different like that. You know, Daisy and Delilah are definitely on opposite ends of the spectrum, even though they were both here for some leash walking training. There we go, she's doing good. She sees somebody over there. Getting ready to press on the lead. Gonna go ahead and press down just in case. Good girl. So this person's gonna be backing into their driveway, so we're just gonna hold here. Good girl. You can also ask her to wait, but she usually knows that when I stop and there's leash pressure. Good girl. That means to wait. And that's just from practicing in our drills. We'll go over that when either we get some time to film another practice drill, or when she comes and does her kind of wrap up with mom, because we'll definitely go through it again in that video as well for her. Oh yeah, especially with a pup like Miss Delilah here, the long lead is recommended so long as you're responsible and you're paying close attention to what's going on, because this will allow her to kind of have some extra time while she's smelling and exploring and marking things, and mom can continue kind of making her way back home, and then Delilah can just catch up. Good girl, good potty. Right. Also just really depends on the neighborhood, how quiet they are, if they're in more like a city area or an urban area or a country area. Because I would definitely still not recommend this in an area like downtown or at the city square, just because of all the cars and people going by. I'd either, you'd have to lock it at like a normal leash length, or just recommend using a normal leash. She's doing really good though. We'll do one more recall and then we'll pause the video. Delilah. Yes, good girl. Sit. You sit? Yes, good sit. Thank you very much. Good girl. All right, let's go.